It's sort of like a kind of strange reanimator deck that can also, combo with Tendrils of Agony. So a lot of things going on in it, and honestly, it has a lot of different angles of attack. So and plays a lot of cards that you don't see typically in Legacy. So
yeah, I
should be pretty
imagine
exciting.
Jacob's got a lot of readers among his opponents, just as a general rule.
Yeah, a lot of cards passing over across the table, and the opponent thoroughly reading them. And I expect we'll probably break our record of number of cards that appear on screen, so that the viewers at home could identify them.
The other player, Nguyen, is playing. Looks like, I want to say mono black. I'm double checking. Yep. Mono black smallpox. I would say pox, but that card, nobody runs that card anymore. But it's the same basic idea, sinkhole, smallpox, hymnotoric, inquisition. Just full on resource denial, grinding them out. You got Curse Scroll, Bloodghast, Nether Spirit, and Mishra's Factories as the win conditions. And that's it. That's how you get them.
It's kind of interesting, he's playing cards like Smallpox, him, and Jacob actually has like Goryo's Vengeance, Reanimator, Grizzlebrand in his deck, so could actually work out well for Jacob depending on the discard spell.
He's actually a little less vulnerable than some other Storm decks might be in those situations where he just randomly gets to accidentally reanimate a creature when he's not really supposed to be. Especially like a sorcery speed him on Sean's turn can lead to an end step shallow grave for Jacob.
And looks like a turn 1 Gitaxian Probe showing an Inquisition and 2 Innocent Bloods, along with a Wasteland, Mishra's Factory, and 2 Swamps. And we have that sweet, sweet zoom action to give you a better view.
Check that out.
And again, not a great hand against a typical Storm deck, but again, this is an atypical Storm deck, so I guess we'll just have to see. But again, Jacob has perfect information here, so a pretty good spot for him.
He's going to lead Marsh Flats, Lotus Petal, and pass. Note that he did go ahead and put the Lotus Petal into play to protect it from a discard spell.
And then he knows about the Inquisition, so...
Yep. Oh, he's going to be using it to brainstorm, it looks like.
Oh,
so
very
not
good.
his motivation. He's going to be hiding multiple cards from Inquisition.
And he also has a sack land in play, so he can easily ship him if he wants.
I see it looks like 3 Dark Rituals and an Entomb, I think, among his hand. Pretty intimidating stuff.
Yeah, I'd imagine all those rituals will remain in his hand.
Yeah, it looks like he needs to actually shuffle this turn, so he may not be able to hide. He may put like Entomb land and then draw the Entomb and then shuffle after that, something like that. If he really, I imagine he needs to keep the Entomb since that's one half of his action.
He could put 2 cards, sack the land, and cast Entomb.
Oh, he could also do that.
Which it looks like exactly what he's doing.
That means he's probably going to go for a basic here.
Yeah, knowing about the Wasteland.
Yeah.
He has another Swamp in his hand, so he'll be able to get the 2-mana no matter what, but again, probably just wants to make sure that he doesn't get Wasteland next time. So it looks like, yep, we got an Entomb. I'd imagine Grizzlebrand might be the target.
That seems likely.
And there it is. And I think it's kind of unfortunate because you could have actually just like hard cast Grizzlebrand with triple dark.
Yeah.
That would have been very exciting.
That would have been a first, I think. Just got him.
Like, yeah, this is my deck. I just hard cast Grizzlebrands on turn 2.
And with that Inquisition, Jacob has hit Threshold on turn 1, ladies and gentlemen. It's not really relevant, but it's still neat.
Yes.
You don't see that very often. Just turn 1 Threshold.
Wow. He doesn't actually have...
Cabal Ritual?
Yeah, it doesn't have Cabal Ritual, which would have been pretty impressive if he top decked a Grizzlebrand. But,
looks like... I couldn't quite see what he drew there. It might have been a Shallow Grave. I thought I saw a little orange in the artwork. Oh!
Uh-oh.
It's cracking.
Something's going to happen this turn.
Yeah. Unlike many of you at home, I do know what Shallow Grave actually looks like, which we might have to bring it up on screen.
We might have to bring up a Shallow Grave on the screen here so everyone at home can kind of read what it does.
Shallow Grave and Goryo's Vengeance being the 2 cards that Jacob generally uses to get back his Grizzlebrand.
Shallow Grave. Put the top creature card from your graveyard into play as though it were just played. This creature is unaffected by summoning sickness. Remove the creature from the game at the end of turn. So, pretty good draw, but is it what he drew?
I think he either drew Vengeance or Shallowgrave here because he's burning these rituals. He's getting ready to just go off.
And there
Shallowgrave.
it is.
God, I'm so good. I'm so good.
So with 5 mana, he uses 2 of it to cast Shallowgrave, so he has 3 mana floating. Shallowgrave will allow him to put the Grizzlebrand into play. He can choose to draw 7 cards, going to 9. He can choose to probably draw another 7 if he wants. Again, this is the part of the deck where he just tries to amass a large number of spells, and then wins with, he can win with Tendrils of Agony. Looks like we're going to draw another 7 cards, going to 2. He still has 3 black mana floating, signified by that dice there.
Yeah, Jacob's an experienced combo player. He's played Storm in addition to this deck, and knows how to keep it clear both to himself, his opponent, and us at home even.
We also have a Children of Corliss, which we might need to bring on the screen as well.
Let's bring up
another card that Sean has to read.
A Time Spiral All-Star, if I'm not mistaken. Fearsome draft power. No, the card you would only know because you saw it 14th basically every time.
So sacrifice Children of Corliss, you gain life equal to the life you lost this turn. So Jacob has in fact lost 14 life this turn, which means he will be able to gain 14 life, which will allow him to draw more cards. Oh, and actually 15 life because of one of the sacraments. Yep. So he's going to be gaining 15 life, drawing another 14 cards likely.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but I have a feeling that Jacob can probably find a way to kill his opponent with
let's not get ahead
28
of
cards.
let's not get ahead of ourselves here. So I believe he has at least 1 Lotus Petal, so he can cast another Child of Corliss if he wants to. Still has that 3 black mana floating.
He's going to Brainstorm.
Brainstorm instead. Apparently, just wants more cards. Has a Chrome Mox now too for some more mana.
I've spotted Emrakul. One of the more amusing things this deck can do is actually iterate enough times to hardcast Emrakul with its rituals, but it usually takes an opponent who simply is willing to sit there and watch you do it, because it's not very entertaining for either of you.
So all in all, Sean must be having a great time right now, I'd say. So, yep, and there's the Shallowgrave.
We're just going to go for it
instant speed.
This way, yep. With Emrakul's trigger on the stack, we're casting Shallowgrave, so we've basically got 2 unearthed creatures in play. Actual, the mechanic unearthed for all intents and purposes. But
yeah. The Super Twins are in play, and they are about to attack for a significant portion of Sean's life total. Yep. And Sean's going to scoop up his cards.
Well, that was neat.
Well, nothing like the good old turn 2 kill with a Grizzlebrand and an Emrakul. I could see why everyone at home wanted to see this deck in action.
Oh yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Very, very fun deck. Much more fun than the typical blue-white decks that we've seen the last few rounds. And somehow I think we're not going to end in a draw or come close to drawing this round.
Yeah, Jacob's been finishing his rounds pretty quickly, just on average.
And what does Sean have in the sideboard?
I imagine he will be slapping that 1 Caracas he's got in his sideboard right in there.
Yeah.
It's not actually that awesome against Jacob specifically. Obviously, his deck is designed to be able to come back from losing the Grizzlebrand for a little while when you draw 14 cards immediately. But it's still worth going. His 2 Extirpates, a lot more dangerous. Those will be tricky for Jacob to navigate. And he's also got access to 2 Thoughtseize and 3 Leyline of the Voids, plus, that's right, we're not done, 2 Pithing Needles, obviously to name Grizzlebrand. So a lot, actually. Wow, I don't think Sean came here gunning for Jacob, but he certainly got some bullets in the holster.
That's a lot of cards against a graveyard deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, a Leyline, turn 0 Leyline. He also has Enlightened Tutor that he could bring in to get a Pithing Needle, or even a Leyline of the Void if he manages to get to turn.
No, that's
I'm sorry, this is Engineer play.
Engineer play.
Okay. So yeah, Hide the Needle to stop Grizzlebrand, Leyline of the Void to stop the graveyard shenanigans. Probably brings in the Thoughtseize. Again, Innocent Blood's not very good. He's got plenty of cards that he can board out. Probably doesn't want Curse Scroll.
I don't even think he wants Smallpox.
Yeah. He's
Smallpox, Innocent Blood, those both seem pretty rancid.
definitely has a lot of cards that he can board out. Probably even brings in the Ensnaring Bridge. Again, Jacob's deck has the ability to kind of storm out, but still, you know, as we saw there, maybe there are times where he just tries to get an macro into play, and Gorio's mentioned that.
Right.
You know, that at least shuts that strategy down.
Yeah, Sean probably just has enough dead cards that he can do things like that. Bring in a card that's like really marginal, but in a very small set of situations will actually be enough to give him some time.
Still better than like a card like Innocent Blood or Smallpox or some or Curse Scroll even. So, yeah, at least 10 cards that Sean can board out, and it looks like, you know, everything but Perish and Engineer Plague might actually come in.
Yeah, definitely very reasonable to bring in all of those cards.
And on Jacob's side of the board, you know, he's got 2 Massacres, which I don't see coming in. He's got 2 Pithing Needles, which again, probably nothing he really wants to name. He's got an Echoing Truth, 3 Surgical Extractions or Hercule's Recall, 2 Silence, 2 Pull from Eternity, and 2 Chain of Vapors. Silence doesn't seem like a card that he really needs, you know, because it's more against like a counterspell package. All of Sean's hate is very proactive, so a card like Silence won't really stop it. Pull from Eternity.
That's coming in for sure.
Interesting.
Nice extirpates.
So he actually has some outs to the extirpate there. So very interesting sideboard card there. Again, probably brings in the Chain of Vapors, fearing Leyline of the Void.
Leyline, Pithing Needle, all those cards are. It's just a good blanket answer. That's why it's in the board in the first place, you know.
Yeah. Again, Jacob has 1 Silence in his main deck that he probably can take out. But again, I'm not sure how much he wants to dilute his deck here. Does he take out the Tendrils? You know, again,
he might trim some. I feel like he might trim some Cabal Therapies. You know, against this deck, it's going to be hard to name correctly. It's going to really depend on what Sean's sideboards versus like knowing Sean's archetype. Like, I mean, as we saw in that game, most of the cards in Sean's deck are just bad against Jacob. Like, they don't do anything. Yeah,
typically you'd think a card like Cabal Therapy would be better after board when you kind of know what your opponent's playing.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, Mono Block, Smallpox isn't necessarily a common deck, and you also have no idea what he's bringing in after sideboard. So, and you're not really going to be able to flash back the Therapy in your deck. So, again, I think it's a reasonable card that he can probably bring out for some of the sideboard cards like Pull from Eternity, Chain of Vapor, and Echoing Truth, which are probably the main ones that he wants.
He does have Jataxian Probe, so I don't think I'd get rid of all of them. Like 1 or 2 seems like a good trim, and then the Silence, and that's pretty much all you really need, like 3 or 4 cards.
Yeah, probably like the 2 Pulls and the Echoing Truth are 3 cards that you can probably cut 2 Cabal Therapy and a Silence for.
Yeah.
Does he want the last 2 Chain of Vapors? You know, he can sort of hedge a little bit there. Again, Leyline is bad for him.
Chrome Lux is probably also not ideal post-board. Like, it's not a pedal he can use when he gets, you know, a discard spell hits him early, so much weaker there. So I could see that coming out just to like reduce his vulnerability to him to Torak when he's on the draw.
Yeah, so maybe he reduces the speed of his deck a little bit, but makes it a little more robust.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that happening.
I think that's generally the game plan for most combo decks in post-board games. Like, you're trying to take advantage of a game 1 edge, and then games 2 and 3, you got to kind of work your way through what you're doing.
It's like, okay, I might not win on turn 2 like I did in game 1, but I'm going to try to hedge a little bit and hope that I win on turn 3 or 4, like I typically do.
And
which is a fair turn.
Yeah. Same amount of points.
You don't get extra points for winning on turn 1 or 2. Although Jacob can win on turn 1.
Yeah. So, what Sean really wants is just Jacob to mulligan. Every card he loses is a big help.
Looks like they're both keeping that.
Yep.
Sean looks like maybe an Urborg.
Yeah. Urborg and Thoughtseize, I think. No, he's Ritualing.
Ritual.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's got those sweet Saga rituals. Very nice.
Ooh. So turn 1 Ritual Liliana. What do you see here?
I don't actually know how much I like that. You know.
Yeah,
like,
a little risky because if he
might
has
just
a Grizzle
die.
Brain, you could just lose the game.
If this was my play, I might actually just. He has 2 rituals in hand. I probably would have just burnt the other one to also cast Inquisition. Like.
Yeah, I mean, at least then you know.
Does it matter? Yeah, like that's fine. It's the same difference.
Good news for Sean. Jacob just ended up discarding a land there, so probably the best case scenario for him.
Yeah, that
means now that you see like the Liliana, you see just how many bad cards Sean has in his deck. Like he still has the Innocent Bloods in there. He just has like a lot of dead cards against Jacob.
I'm actually curious what he did board out or what he decided to bring in, because these are a lot of, like, there's the smallpox. Like, these are all the cards. I assumed we would just be snap cutting like these 8 cards. So
yeah,
he maybe cut something else. Like maybe he went with the sinkholes. Maybe he cut his hymns because he fears the reanimator thing. I still think it's a worthwhile risk, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know if that's true, because he kept in a card like Liliana.
Yeah, that's weird.
And smallpox. But again, you know, on the plus side, he is able to discard Liliana Innocent Blood to Liliana. So
yeah, they all look the same in the graveyard.
Exactly.
Jacob is going to fetch. He's shortcutting his use of a fetch land for a land and then casting Entomb, as he clarified with the judge. We do need to actually put a land into play, though. Yeah. We've sort of shortcutted past that part. If someone
probably should just stop.
Oh, he's not. Oh, I'm sorry. There's an Urborg. He's not fetching. He's keeping it. That's interesting. Good point.
So
in before Twitter. Yep.
So yeah, it looks like the Entomb. The Brainstorm, was that that get hit by an Inquisition Kozilek?
Yeah.
Was that the card that got hit?
He just let that happen. Or maybe he pitched that to the Liliana. Now we're Inquisitioning. Yeah.
Wow.
So he just decided didn't need.
So
and if you look at his hand, yeah, he
looks like he pretty
need.
much needs to take the Dark Ritual here, if I'm correct. Which is a terrible spot to be in, because you're basically hoping your opponent doesn't draw a land.
Or a Lotus Petal.
Or a Lotus Petal.
Or Dark Ritual.
Or Dark Ritual, another Dark Ritual, or a Chrome Mox. A number of cards that Sean can draw here. So really unfortunate for Sean here that Jacob actually has double Shallow Grave, but
what do you think of Sean's keep, actually? I think that's something we can discuss what he thinks over this choice. Because like post board, it's really tempting to just mulligan to hate against a combo deck, and he decided to go with the hand that's got a discard spell or two and a little pressure.
Yeah, his opener looked like, considering he had a number of cards in his opener that we thought we would have boarded out.
Yeah.
I'd question whether or not keeping this hand was correct. But again, maybe he just oh wow,
Petal that is.
That's even better, because now he can still make his land drop, and he's more likely to draw a land than a Lotus Petal. So really good draw for Jacob here. And again, he had a lot of outs, so not unreasonable. No. So looks like, again, he's at 20 life, probably going to go down to 6, draw 14 cards.
Yeah, it's 20 outs total, actually. Looking at it, plus a few redraws in like Jataxian Probe. So
he drew a Chain of Vapor and a Pulse, so 2 of his Cyber cards he drew. He also drew a land, which he can play for the turn if he wants.
He has a couple lands. It looks like 3. Yeah, I think we're going in again. Yep, we're going in again. That's a 7 life paid.
Good enough. Hopefully a child of Corliss shows up, so we can start digging a little more.
I saw another pull. I didn't see a child, though.
Well, he will be able to attack with Grizzlebrand and draw an additional 7 cards, and at that point, maybe he's just going to try to go for the Tendrils plan. But
he may be he has the Tendrils in hand already. He's already on the Tendrils plan now.
Oh, so and he has the second. Oh, and he has the second Shallow that we know of from last time. So he can just go Dark Ritual and Tomb for Emrakul and do the same thing that he did last game.
Yes, he can also do that. So he's got plenty of things going.
And again, I believe this is another turn 2 kill.
Yeah. Impressive little deck.
I wouldn't say a little deck. He's got.
It's pretty small now.
He's got some large creatures. So yeah. Oh, okay. So.
Oh, we're going with style.
I think at this point Jacob is like, yeah, I'm on camera. I'm definitely going for. I'm going to be a little bit of a boss right here.
Shallow Grave, keep going. I mean, he, at this point, I guess he kind of feels I can kill him however I want.
He's got the
this
tendrils.
Is how I want to do
he's got the Tendrils in his hand. Yeah, he can kill him however he wants. I don't think there's anything in Sean's hand that he's afraid of.
I think we call this like showing your range.
Hello.
He's going to go ahead and gain 7 there.
So he's going to draw another 7, which means that he'll actually be able to gain 21 life off the Children of Corliss.
Yep.
Drew another Lotus Petal, so he's gonna still be able to continue generating mana. Not sure what the spell count is currently. But Sean is at 12, so basically just needs 5 spells in addition to the tendrils, which he might have already cast. Ritual.
I know he's got
shallow,
at least 6.
Shallow, petal, another shallow, ritual. Yeah, so he's already in tendrils range.
Yeah, I think this is 7.
And Gataxian Probe as well. So yeah, he's well within tendrils range already. So going to gain 23 life because of the Gataxian Probe.
I think we're a little behind on the life totals. Sean is at 8 life, or has lost 8 life. He's at 12.
So Sean's at 12 and Jacob's at 27. For those of you at home. Looks like we're going to draw another 7 cards. Eventually Jacob plans on casting tendrils. Hopefully he doesn't deck himself, which is probably Sean's only chance this particular game. But he's going to draw another 7. And yep, just has I believe 6 cards left.
The trick he can do is Cabal Therapy himself for Emrakul to shuffle his graveyard back.
Yeah.
If he decides he needs to draw his deck more than one time. I've heard stories of that being necessary, quote unquote.
I feel like at this point that is somewhat unsportsmanlike.
Nobody ever got to put an Emrakul into play by being sporting.
I guess that's true. Nothing about this sequence of events is sporting.
Emrakul is probably the least sporting of all.
Another
of all the
spell.
Cards. We definitely have a Lethal Storm count. I assume we have a Dark Ritual somewhere in there. What with having drawn the whole deck. We're gonna keep
maybe
going.
He just doesn't have the tendrils yet.
I saw the tendrils. He definitely has the tendrils.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now
he just drew a Dark Ritual, so now we know he has it. Now we get to know if he's showboating for sure.
Yeah, now we can. If he Cabal Therapist himself, getting rid of the Emrakul, then we know he's definitely showboating.
All right. Maybe he was shy the ritual. I'll give him some. No, I guess he definitely wasn't.
I don't know. This is showboating. Yeah. All right. Are you sure he has the tendrils? I don't know.
I'm sure.
All right.
We had it like off the second Bristlebrand trigger or whatever, or activation, I should say. It's cool, Jacob. Take your time.
Yeah, no.
We got all the time.
Hey, if you have a deck this cool, you can do whatever you want. This is after watching 3 rounds of blue-white decks, I'm more than willing to have watch a combo deck go through the motions and do a couple of awesome things.
Entomb. I think a Child of Corliss seems like the most likely candidate here.
I would prefer, yeah. might as well draw another 30.
Well, now that we've lost,
this might be the record for the most number of cards.
I think we're drawing 35 cards this time.
Is this a record?
We're gaining 35 life. I assume it is. It's going to be more than 60. So,
I mean, yeah.
Barring a High Tide opponent killing a Battle of Wits player, I don't know.
That's true. Yeah. Have we ever had
High Tide versus Battle
of Wits in the SCG Open Series? Can we look that up? Our director just rolled his eyes. So I had imagined that never happened before. So it looks like we're going to get another 35 life. Jacob is currently at 50.
I guess it was more than that. It was 44 or something.
So he's
got petals.
Rebuying on Lotus Petals.
That's how the deck loops itself. You just rebuy the petals. Once you're gaining more life than once you're gaining so much life that you're drawing the full contents of your deck and hitting all the petals, you're just casting all the spells each time because your combo only costs 3 mana per iteration.
At this point, I would venture that Jacob just has a bet with his friends for how much he can do a tendrils for on camera.
he might have a bet with his friends for hard casting the Emrakul on camera. Like I said, it's pretty tough, and people have to really let you do it. They have to just not concede.
That might be what he's going for. He might just be going for the hard cast Emrakul here, untapping.
Who can blame him?
I cannot blame him if that's what he's going for.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to get all mana in the graveyard basically, and he's just going to loop Entomb, Shallowgrave, Child, Rituals, and just draw those 7 each time basically. Yep. Now that he's got, all he needs to do is get that graveyard the exact size he wants it.
He can literally just
Cabal Therapy himself for Emrakul.
Manufacture his graveyard and know exactly what he's going to draw every single time. So, yep, we currently in the loop.
He hands him his hand. Would you like to look at my hand?
So here we go.
I'm gonna shuffle now.
He's going to draw 7.
Yep, he no longer needs to use the rest of his hand, as the only 7 cards that matter are just going to keep going into the graveyard and back. So that's why he set it to the side.
So we're going to have a Ritual for 6 mana, go to 8 mana. And Child going to come back. He's going to go back to his secondary hand, his auxiliary hand, to see if there's anything else he needs.
Why would he do that? That seems unnecessary. I don't know if he needs to Child too many more times. Maybe one more. I don't think so.
Oh, there's a Ritual he forgot about. So
can't forget
mana,
about those.
And there's all the rituals. So 10, 12 mana. So he has 15 mana, so he can cast Emrakul if he wants.
He's gonna pop off the petals and just cast the Emrakul. He does. Actually, he probably needs to shuffle one more time, right? He has no deck.
He needs to discard a little more.
So he has to Cabal. He has to Therapy himself one more time before he actually gets to go for it. And this time he'll put 8 cards into his discard pile.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Still only 7. Might have.
Yeah. He needs to sack petal with this on the stack, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There he goes. Okay.
Sacks a couple petals.
It's like stack trigger.
No,
sack.
looks like he kept them.
I mean, he can just do it again.
Yeah. I mean, he'll eventually get it right.
It's possible he passed priority and his opponent just held him to it. Nah, you don't get one of those in the graveyard.
Are you done?
Well,
at a certain point, I think Jacob might say, this is too much tendrils.
We might be at that point right now.
Yeah, I think.
Threw the deck back in. No?
All
right. It's like casting all of these. He's confirming the amount of mana that he nets. 11. Yeah.
All right. So he needs to get 8 cards in his graveyard, draw 7, and the Emrakul has to be in one of the 7 cards, right? And then he wins.
Right.
And then he casts Emrakul and takes another turn.
Yeah, I suppose that is a concern he has. He actually has to make sure he doesn't just.
I mean, the thing is,
it's not a concern.
He could just keep doing it until it happens. You know.
Well, ostensibly, it would be possible for him to get to the spot where he just has Emrakul in his deck, and but as long as he has an Entomb in his hand, that won't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But that's why he's putting all the Entombs here.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
So he's just gonna keep.
I don't know why we need all of them though, right?
So yeah, probably don't need all of them, but it doesn't matter. There's a good chance, he's more likely to hit an Emrakul in these 7.
Well, if he messes it up, he's still got 2 more tries before he has to get a child to fix it.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll just draw it in these 7.
Yeah. Put Sean and ourselves out of our misery. There he is. I've never been so happy to see a giant tentacled monster in my entire life.
All right. There it is.
Stack trigger.
Now I'll tendrils you.
Untap, tendrils you.
And maybe Jacob will just attack the Liliana. All right, so finally Jacob managed to win the game, and very interesting deck. He lost his one loss was to William Huey Jedson in the round before.